I recently started embroidery cross stitching, and this is the piece that I am working on. This is using the parking method, and that is a photo of a morning glory that I took and had it converted into a pattern. And so I'm working on this. This has 50 different colors in it, so I'm constantly having to, as you can see, switch colors. And up until now, I've been using, I'm brand new at this, by the way. I've been using this storage container for organizing my embroidery threads, and I've come across several issues. One, I have the hardest time keeping them organized in order. Like I pull them out and I just throw them back in there and they don't stay in any kind of order. Two, when you pull one out, they all flop over flat and then they just end up getting mixed up in a total mess. The bigger problem, which has happened to me twice now, I have 3 cats. One of them likes to come and visit me when I'm threading, and they step on the lid and they've completely tipped over my box twice, dumping my entire thread all over the floor, causing me to have to reorganize every time. And I can't stand that. So I decided to come up with an idea that I've sort of invented involving a pocket system so that I can easily see what I have, but put them in and out individually and they'll stay in place. So this isn't necessarily a tutorial, more of a walkthrough of my idea and how I did it. Couple things to know: I am not a perfectionist. If you are, this is not the channel for you. This is not the video for you. I promise you, if you are a perfectionist, I will make you angry. I am striving for completion, not perfection. All right, so we get that out of the way. A couple things that I've got: obviously my sewing machine, some spray adhesive, a yard of fabric, kind of a neutral color, some elastic. I am going to try using this clear contact paper to cover it so that I can see through it. Some artist canvas panels. All of this I got at Walmart. And some other small knickknacks. So I'll walk you through each step as I go, and we'll see what the finished result looks like. Got one of these binders, these like Trapper Keeper style binders. They have a zipper. Got it at Walmart. And the cool thing about this particular one is there are 2 binder spaces, and I created these pages to store my embroidery threads. And then this side has like the pouches that came with it. It's so cool. So you have extra storage here, and then when you just need a color, you go through and you pick whatever color you need and you pull it out, and then you put it back when you're done with it. And they don't fall all over the place, and you can always see what you have because it's clear. That's so cool. It's double-sided, and then I'll go through and make some more pages, and then you can pick whatever like background color you want. So I'm going to show you how to make it. Okay, I feel dumb. It opens and closes by the clip. All right, so we're going to try a corner of the fabric. I'm just going to write a word. You probably can't see that. Just waiting to see if it comes back. All right, you just had to do a little longer maybe. All right, that works. So we are going to use this as a tracing tool down the line. Okay, I've got my heat erasable pen, I've got my canvas, I've got my fabric face down, and I'm not going to iron it because we're going for completion, not perfection. So first thing I'm going to do is just trace the outline of the canvas. Okay, and then you'll see that I have traced it on here. We are then going to use our tool and draw about a ½ an inch around the edge. We want it to come out 1/4 of an inch, and then you need a little bit of a seam allowance. Okay, so you probably can't see it very well here. I'll move you closer. But we traced, there's 3 lines, 1, 2, 3. We've traced the outline of the canvas. We have a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and then we want a 1/4 inch overlap because we're going to at the end do a zigzag stitch around the edge when we go to finish it, so it has a nice clean finish on it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. Okay, I've got my pieces cut out correctly this time, and what I'm going to do is just go ahead, I don't even know that I gave myself enough clearance. We're going to try it. I'm going to go ahead on the correct sides facing up, trace again your canvas. I have 2 pieces here, so it'll be a front and a back. I want to make a 2-sided page. The first thing we are going to do then is get out our contact paper, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to trace it with a 1/2 inch overlay. All right, so we have 2 sheets, the same size as our board. Okay, since my board is 8 inches across, we're going to cut 4 strips of elastic. I got, is this 1 inch? 3/4 inch. It doesn't really matter how wide it is. I prefer a wider band, but it really doesn't matter. So 3/4 inch. I'm going to cut 8 inches across, and I'm going to cut 4 of them. Okay, now I've got my ruler. We're going to do 4 lines across at every 2 inches. Again, this is heat erasable. I'm doing it on the front facing side because it should come off when we use the hairdryer on it. This will help us keep our lines straighter. If you're a perfectionist, you would even this out a little bit. Because I'm not. Because you want to leave the space at the top, I think. Okay, so now I've got my 4 lines drawn on there. They're kind of faint, but again, we don't want it to be too dark. Now I have my 4 pieces of elastic, and what we're going to do is center them on those lines that you made, and I'm going to use these sewing clips instead of pins. I feel like with the elastic that's easier, and I'm just going to clip them along the center of the line so that I can sew them in place. You want the elastic to be flat on that. Okay, I have a denim needle in my machine. I think you can use any needle. I used a regular one the last time I did this, but a denim needle will last longer. And all I'm going to do is, there is this line right here. I'm going to go about 1/8 of an inch inside the line and sew a straight line down across these elastics. Okay, here's my sewed edge. Here is my clipped edge. I clipped this other edge. Now we're gonna make a straight line across, 2 of them, one here, and we're gonna mark just a straight line down, and that's gonna be the tacking down the elastic for the pockets. My thread bobbins measure a little over 1.5 inches, so I'm just gonna make my width of the pocket 2 inches. So I started on the side I sewed, and I'm going to use my friction pen and go ahead and make a straight line all the way down at 2 inches out on the fabric and across the elastic as well. I actually ended up getting 3 lines instead of 2, so I think that they will be 1, 2, 3, 4 even pockets across, which is fine. So what I'm going to do is now go ahead and sew straight down those lines. Starting on the side that I sewed from, making sure that your elastic lays flat on your fabric. Okay, I've added the plastic to the front and I just clipped it down with the clips. Now, and you can see how uneven my sewing is. I'm not the best sewer, but that's okay. Again, completion, not perfection. All right, now we're gonna run a line across the bottom of each elastic about 1/2 inch. So I'm gonna go ahead and use my friction tool. I did test out a small corner, so we're gonna see if this works out. And of course, my clips in the middle are in the way, so I'm gonna move those out. And just go ahead and measure 1/2 inch down from. All right, I've got my lines. I'm going to go ahead and sew across those lines. I'm going to start in the middle, that way it lays a little more evenly throughout, and I'm just going to sew from one end to the other. All right, now you can see sort of that I've got my lines. The back kind of looks like this, so we've got almost a grid going. Now we're going to sew around all the edges. Now we have all of our edges done. Now we're going to create the edge. So you will see on the back where your threads are. You just want to fold it over and then clip it. So we're going to make the hemmed edge. I like to leave about 1/4 inch here for this. And we're going to use these clips all the way down. Now I'm going to seam that edge. I'm going to use about 1/8 inch seam allowance. It can be right pretty close to the edge. So at this point I'm essentially done. You could leave it like this, but I personally don't like how floppy this is. I feel like it'll be even worse when you add the weight of the bobbin. So I'm going to go on to the next step and attach it to my canvas board.